Welcome to Mystic Recaps. Today we will be discussing a 2021 film Sweet and Sour. So let's jump right in. Lee Jang-hyuk has whisked away to the hospital and is greeted by a charming nurse named Da-yoon. With a weakened voice, Hyuk tells her that he fell ill after working tirelessly to pass a crucial engineering exam and securing the job. But Da-yoon reassures him that everything will be alright. Diagnosed with hepatitis B, Hyuk's fellow patients begin to worry that his condition may be contagious. Even his parents, who came to visit their ailing son, start to question the safety of being near him. Meanwhile, Hyuk receives messages from his close friends, letting him know that they will not be visiting for fear of contracting the disease. Enter the hero of the day, Nurse Da-yoon. She sets the record straight and lets everyone know that hepatitis B is not contagious. She shows Hyuk kindness and even kisses his IV bag for good measure, easing his stress and worries. Because nothing says get well soon like a kiss on an IV bag. Who needs human touch when you have medical equipment, love? As Hyuk takes a nighttime stroll, he runs into Da-yoon in the hallway, puffing away on a cigarette. Da-yoon bemoans the fact that she's not supposed to smoke in front of the head nurse and complains about her grueling 8-hour shifts every day. Hyuk takes notice of a ring on Da-yoon's finger and she informs him that it's her graduation ring. Soon, the head nurse makes an appearance and Da-yoon, not wanting to get in trouble, shifts the blame onto Hyuk for the smoking. The next day, Da-yoon apologizes to Hyuk for putting him in the hot seat and mentions that if she got caught, she would have faced a pay cut. As Hyuk indulges in a scrumptious meal, he watches as Da-yoon starts munching on his food without so much as a may I. But Hyuk doesn't seem to mind at all. In fact, he seems to be enjoying the company. Da-yoon also promises to repay Hyuk with a meal of her own. One evening, after a particularly exhausting shift, Da-yoon crashes on Hyuk's bed for a power nap. Hyuk starts to develop feelings for Da-yoon and even confides in his friends about his crush. He just can't wrap his head around the idea that a cute girl like Da-yoon is spending time with him. Da-yoon busts Hyuk for lighting up in the hallway. She is not too pleased, especially considering Hyuk's ongoing battle with hepatitis. Hyuk leaves a heartfelt message on her phone promising to never smoke again. But it doesn't take long for him to start calling Da-yoon to meet him. To her surprise, these calls aren't medical in nature but instead, Hyuk uses them to read messages and leaves treats for her to eat. When Da-yoon works overnight, she can expect to find an orange from Hyuk waiting for her. If she's feeling run down after a long day at work, it's a soup that she'll find. But Hyuk's calls aren't just about food. He also wants to make sure Da-yoon takes a break and gets some rest when she needs it. And let's just say, Hyuk doesn't mind a little theft if it means getting Da-yoon a special treat, like those pricey macarons he swiped from another patient's fridge. Oh, the things we do for love. Over lunch, Da-yoon asks Hyuk if he has a girlfriend, sending him into a panic. He denies having one. When he hears he's being discharged in a couple of days, he freaks out even more, as he doesn't want to leave Da-yoon's side just yet. And to make matters worse, he gets jealous when he sees Da-yoon talking closely to one of her colleagues. Hyuk has a grand plan of bidding farewell to Da-yoon with a bouquet of flowers, but the head nurse foils his plans by calling Da-yoon away. Frustrated at not being able to properly say goodbye and get her number, Hyuk resorts to drastic measures. He eats raw meat in the hopes of landing back in the hospital. Talk about going to extremes. Convinced that Da-yoon might have feelings for him too, Hyuk returns to the hospital with a single-minded determination to get her number. Just as he's committing it to memory, the head nurse makes an appearance and Hyuk is forced to leave without getting what he came for. Back at home, Hyuk tries desperately to recall the digits. With a little creative problem solving and some trial and error, Hyuk finally manages to piece together Da-yoon's number and gives her a call. Not wasting a single moment, he confesses his feelings for her. Da-yoon, who's all alone at her apartment, invites Hyuk over and he races over in his father's car, not wanting to waste a single second. Well, this love story is moving faster than a car in overdrive. Hyuk's father is beyond livid with him for taking the family car without permission. Meanwhile, Hyuk shows up at Da-yoon's apartment, but he can barely string two words together in front of her. As the awkwardness reaches peak levels, Hyuk decides to make a hasty exit. But, in a bold move, Da-yoon invites him to spend the night with her. Hyuk accepts the invitation, and both of them have a peaceful slumber. The next morning, Hyuk goes above and beyond to prove his affection, fixing a faulty light bulb, taking out the garbage, and even whipping up breakfast. Da-yoon is touched by Hyuk's efforts, and they share a brief kiss. Over the next few days, Hyuk supports Da-yoon in her work, reveling in their newfound relationship, despite the skepticism from his parents. At times, Hyuk can't help but feel envious of Da-yoon's colleague who always seems to be hanging around her. When he asks about her missing ring, Da-yoon shares that she lost it. Da-yoon has received a vacation package to the beautiful Jeju Island and wants Hyuk to join her. The couple sets out to buy matching shirts, but their plans are derailed when Hyuk can't find the right size. Looks like we won't be twins, Hyuk quips, trying to make light of the situation. Hyuk arrives at the airport, excited about his flight to Jeju Island with his girlfriend, Da-yoon. To his surprise, Da-yoon presents him with a pair of sneakers that match her own. Looks like I have to step up my game and get in shape for our next trip to Jeju Island. Hyuk thinks to himself, promising to lose weight by next Christmas. True to his word, Hyuk sheds the pounds and is in better shape than ever. Hyuk and Da-yoon are living life to the fullest. Hyuk's job is going well until one day he gets a call from his boss with some news that takes him by surprise. He's been offered a position at a larger corporation in Seoul. Despite his hesitation to leave Da-yoon and his hometown, Hyuk can't pass up this opportunity for his career and their future together. Hyuk has to break the news to Da-yoon. "I know this wasn't something we discussed, but this is a chance of a lifetime for both of us," he explains, trying to convince her. But Da-yoon is less than thrilled, feeling like Hyuk should have consulted her before making such a big decision. To make it up to her, Hyuk surprises her with his brand new car. "I was tired of borrowing my dad's car every time. It was time for me to get my own," he says. In reality, Hyuk has splurged on a new car for a simple reason. He wants to be close to Da-yoon every day, and as a token of his love, he presents Da-yoon with a new ring to replace the one she lost. As Hyuk sets off for Seoul, he observes the weary expressions of others on their daily commute and can't help but sneer at their fatigue. How could they be tired of going to work every day? Hyuk wonders to himself. Upon arrival at his new office, he turns to a fellow worker for guidance on where to go, who escorts him to his new office, where Hyuk is introduced to his bosses and Bo-young, who will be his competition for the permanent job position. Hyuk is incensed as his former boss had promised him the job would be his and his alone. A call to his former boss yields no sympathy, only a reminder to work harder and prove himself. The presence of a rival in Bo-young only fuels Hyuk's determination to secure his permanent position. He starts brainstorming ways to come out on top. Da-yoon gives Hyuk some sage advice, suggesting that he find a way to endear himself to the bosses. Hyuk hits upon the idea of buying coffee for everyone in the office, but Bo-young foils his plan by taking the lead in distributing the drinks. She steals the credit, leaving Hyuk out in the cold. The company's team is working hard to design a new bridge, with Bo-young doing everything she can to throw Hyuk off track. Hyuk falls for her tricks, earning a scolding from his boss. "It's time to step up your game," Da-yoon tells Hyuk, encouraging him to outwit Bo-young next time. The presentation of the new bridge design arrives, and the team is praised for their hard work. But Hyuk has a trick up his sleeve and interrupts the celebration, pointing out that the bridge might not withstand a tsunami. To everyone's surprise, Hyuk is proven correct during testing. "Looks like I'm the real winner here," Hyuk might have gloated, putting Bo-young in her place. The boss at the company has a brilliant idea: why not throw the new hires, Bo-young and Hyuk, into the deep end by tasking them with redesigning a bridge. That way, the company can really put their skills to the test. Little does Bo-young know, she's about to become the subject of Hyuk's pranks. With each successful tease, Hyuk's confidence grows, while poor Bo-young works tirelessly without a break, sacrificing sleep and hygiene to get the job done. With a skip in his step, Hyuk returns to his apartment, eager to share the tale of his latest pranks with his girlfriend, Da-yoon. But before he can even open his mouth, exhaustion takes over and Hyuk crashes onto the bed, snoring away. The next day, as Hyuk makes his daily commute, he realizes with a chuckle that he's become exactly like those corporate drones he used to mock. Da-yoon, always the voice of reason, suggests that Hyuk doesn't have to make the daily trip home every single night. Instead, he can come back on the weekends and catch up on some much-needed rest. Meanwhile, Bo-young is running on fumes, putting in late hours on the bridge design with no end in sight. And then, just when things can't get any worse, the lights go out, leaving the two of them in darkness. Hyuk scurries about in search of someone who could help him solve his predicament. He stumbles upon the enigmatic employee he encountered on his very first day at the company. The employee alludes to a drained Bo-young when he advises Hyuk to seize every opportunity that presents itself. Hyuk informs Bo-young of his plans to head home, to which Bo-young erupts in a tirade, claiming she has been shouldering all the work alone, with not a shred of assistance from Hyuk. Feeling remorseful for his actions, Hyuk realizes that he might have taken his antics a little too far. So, in an attempt to make amends, he joins forces with Bo-young to recreate the bridge's design. Through their combined efforts, they are able to come up with a design that can withstand even a massive tsunami. The bosses are impressed by their hard work and the company eagerly anticipates future projects from the dynamic duo. At the company dinner, Hyuk is eager to cut out early to meet up with Da-yoon, while Bo-young indulges in a bit too much alcohol. Upon returning to his apartment, Hyuk is exhausted from his travels, but to his surprise, Da-yoon is nowhere to be found. He later discovers from her that her work schedule had been changed, causing her to work the night shift. She tries to get Hyuk to change a light bulb, but he's too exhausted to lift a finger. The next day at work, the boss is extra impressed with Bo-young and Hyuk. He showers them with praise and tells them to keep up the good work. Bo-young admits that she likes working with Hyuk, to which Hyuk replies with a nod and a smile, "Same here." For the next few days, Hyuk and Bo-young are like two peas in a pod, working together on a new project. They seem to enjoy each other's company, but poor Da-yoon is left in the dust. Meanwhile, the employee from earlier is constantly nagging Hyuk to make a move on Bo-young. It's becoming clear that Bo-young has taken a liking to Hyuk. The new project is even more successful than the last, and the executives are thrilled to have these two powerhouses on their team. Bo-young suggests they go out for dinner, to which Hyuk happily agrees. Over a delicious meal, Da-yoon calls Hyuk to see how he's doing. Hyuk finds himself in a tricky situation as he can't exactly tell Da-yoon he's having a cozy dinner date with her. So, he spins a tale of being out with the entire company at a restaurant. Meanwhile, Da-yoon returns home only to discover that Hyuk has failed to fix the pesky light bulb she asked him to change. Back at the office as they work on a new project, the light flickers out again and Bo-young seems to be making a move on Hyuk. But Hyuk's heart belongs to Da-yoon, so he beats a hasty retreat. Upon returning home, he finds Da-yoon in a state of annoyance. She's irked that Hyuk didn't change the light bulb and that he always comes home to unwind instead of spending time with her. Hyuk says he needs some peace and quiet and isn't up for a conversation, but to his surprise, he learns that Da-yoon is carrying his child. The news catches him off guard and he begins to worry about their future since he wasn't planning on having kids this soon. Da-yoon visits the doctor and receives confirmation of her pregnancy. It seems like Hyuk isn't exactly jumping for joy at this news, which is why he's not giving his all at the office. Despite his lack of enthusiasm, he and Da-yoon bravely visit a medical clinic, where they make a difficult choice that takes an emotional toll on both of them. While Hyuk seems emotionally numb, Da-yoon remains positive and hopeful, although it's clear that the situation is affecting her deeply. In an attempt to prioritize Da-yoon's health, Hyuk decides to take a break from work. But, true to form, Da-yoon insists that he head back to the office and not waste his time worrying about her. Reluctantly, Hyuk follows her orders and returns to work, where he labors away until nightfall. Despite being exhausted by the time he gets home, he still hopes to get back to Da-yoon as soon as possible. Poor lad, talk about a never-ending cycle of work and fatigue. Back at home, when asked if he's still up for their planned trip to Jeju Island for Christmas, Hyuk's response is less than enthusiastic. It seems like the daily grind of work is really starting to wear on Hyuk, taking a toll on both his job performance and relationship with Da-yoon. Even Bo-young, who was once Hyuk's work partner in crime, is starting to get frustrated with him after their successful streak over the past few months. Hyuk realizes it's time to buckle down and make the most of his extended stay in Seoul. As a result, he and Bo-young quickly rekindle their dynamic duo vibe. However, Hyuk goes to great lengths to avoid any interaction with Da-yoon, much to her disappointment. Hyuk tries to lighten the mood, but things take a turn for the worse when he mistakenly calls Da-yoon by Bo-young's name. This only fuels Da-yoon's suspicion that Hyuk is involved with Bo-young behind her back. Hyuk, seemingly unfazed, jokingly asks Da-yoon if she really thinks he's capable of such treachery. Da-yoon breaks down in tears, feeling as though she and Hyuk had given up so much, only for him to move on with another woman. But Hyuk isn't interested in explanations or excuses, and instead opts to cut his visit short and return to Seoul. Back at work, Bo-young makes a play for Hyuk and the two share a steamy kiss. Hyuk's life takes a drastic turn as he is forced to prioritize his relationship with Bo-young over Da-yoon. Reminder messages about his reserved Jeju Island tickets pop up, but with no communication with Da-yoon, he's at a loss for what to do. The fateful day arrives where Bo-young and Hyuk will learn if their jobs have become permanent. To their disappointment, they find out that their hard work has been credited to the permanent employees and neither of them has received a full-time offer. Hyuk is devastated, not only because he didn't secure the job, but also because he fears losing Da-yoon. Bo-young mentions her plans of pursuing further studies abroad. That's when Hyuk suddenly recalls his tickets to Jeju Island and decides to take a shot at mending things with Da-yoon. So, he grabs the ring he once gave her and rushes to the airport. Upon seeing Da-yoon, he rushes towards her but ends up bumping into another man and takes a tumble. Wow, who would have thought there were two people named Jang-hyuk in the picture? It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle is twice as heavy. Da-yoon had a soft spot for Lee Jang-hyuk, the hospital patient, just as much as she did for her serious boyfriend, Jang-hyuk. Da-yoon got pregnant when she was with Lee at the hospital, which explains her sudden cravings for food and sudden tiredness. After giving up on her baby, Da-yoon decided to have a relationship with Lee. She, later on, gave the tickets to Jeju Island to Lee as it was easy because he shared the same name as Jang-hyuk. Jang-hyuk is numb over the betrayal of Da-yoon, and he returns to Bo-young where he tries to think of the exact moment when his relationship with Da-yoon went completely off the trail. Bo-young has won the tickets to Jeju Island as well, and Jang-hyuk proposes to Bo-young who leaves him too, saying that they aren't there yet. Ouch, looks like everyone's ditching Jang-hyuk left and right. That's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. Until next time.